All right. Hello, and welcome back to everyone who stayed here from the previous race. And welcome to anyone who's just arrived to this game that's part of the Super Metroid Multi-Category Extension Tournament. If you missed the last race, it was a really neat one. It was GT Max percent. Tilimorf did end up taking it. Um, However, this time the category is North Korea percent, which is my personal favorite category of this whole tournament. I really like North Korea percent. For those who are not acquainted, North Korea percent refers to the boss order that is required by this category. It is an any percent no major glitches category. However, the golden four bosses must specifically be defeated in the order of Dragon, then Phantoon, then Ridley, then Kraid. Um, and the reason it's called North Korea percent is just because the acronym for those four bosses, DPRK, happens to be shared with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or North Korea. And this is a really neat category. I think it's a little bit more than just RBO Light. It's pretty neat. You get a lot of the beginning of RBO, you still get that Upper North or Hell Run. But then you transition to a Sulis Meridia that is similar to RBO, but quite a bit more volatile. After that, you have a pretty unique wrecked ship where you're kitted out with that plasma beam, so that makes Phantoon as well as Attic quite a bit easier. And then you have a pretty standard any percent old route Ridley, followed by a Kraid that is not too dissimilar from RBO. But yeah, it's a really neat category. It's my favorite. There are quite a few different routes you can do, just because there are quite a few different safeties that you can pick up. The world record, as of right now, picks up 4 E-tanks plus 1 reserve tank. However, especially in a tournament setting, it's very common to see at least 5 E-tanks plus 1 reserve tank. Um, or in very specific circumstances, 6 E-tanks and no reserves. I don't expect to see that from either runner today, though. I would expect to see at least 5 E-tanks and 1 reserve tank from both runners. It makes the hell runs at the beginning of the game a little bit easier, and it gives you just a little bit more leeway in Meridia. Yep, so both runners finishing off Ceres and are now entering the the fun part of the game. Some people really like Ceres, and I respect the grind. Yeah, we see both runners going for the Parlor Moonfall. Tilly has a little bit of trouble with it. Uh, if you mess up the initial setup, it can be rough. But then Tilly gets the Weave Moonfall through the climb. Very nice. That's a pretty hard trick, and I think it saves like 10 frames. But it looks cool as heck. Yeah, so roughly 308 more falls from both runners. Now, right after Alpha Missiles, uh, we will see one of the first route deviations and one of the more popular routes if you want to get one safety tank. And that is getting Taco Tank here. Now, neither of these runners, unless they do something quite incredible, can just go over and get it right now. Um, but if you go upstairs, go to the next room over, the pit room, and then come back down to Retro Bryn Star. That room is the flag to turn Retro Bryn on. Then there will be enemies in Retro Bryn, and you can damage boost into that ceiling E tank. Yeah, however, another popular route, it does look like both of them are going for this route right here, um, to get that taco tank in the ceiling. Uh, Taco Tank is named after Taco, a taster who figured out a very silly strat to get the tank that involves a triple frame perfect trick that has a 50% chance of failing due to luck. Here, however, it's a fairly simple deboost, although it can be easy to mess it up. Uh, Both Tilimorf and Iron Rusty have erased quite a few randomizers, so they're very used to this trick. But yeah, another route you can take, and one that I quite like, um, is actually doing a quote unquote Brinstar cleanup where you get power bombs. You get power bombs from Red Tower, and then you come back down, re-enter Brinstar, and get uh, Wavegate Tank and potentially Edacoons. I really like getting Edacoons personally, and if you want to go that route, you can even skip Brinstar Reserve, which saves you a little bit of time, and get Edacoons and Wavegate E tanks instead, uh, which will be faster. From my testing, assuming that you can save 31 seconds by having an E tank instead of a reserve tank. Yes, or you can do a more complicated strat uh, in which you just clip into Edacoons without having any power bombs, known as Moon Dance. Nobody goes for that except me because I'm stupid. And I am fairly confident from my testing that it's either not actually faster or it's really hard to make it faster. Anyway, we do see Tilimorf entering the Bomb Terizo fight now, and Iron Rusty will be in just a second. Because they both picked up that beta missile pack, this fight is a lot easier and a lot faster. Yeah, we see Tilimorf takes care of BT in a few seconds. Hopefully, Iron Rusty is similarly fortuitous. Wow, this is really interesting. Uh, so Tilimorph is doing Gauntlet. I'm honestly really surprised by this play. I've never seen anybody go for Gauntlet in North Korea. I don't think. This is Yeah. I'm honestly not sure what to make of this. Bomb Gauntlet is quite slow, so I don't imagine this being the fastest second safety tank that Tilly could get. Like I would say going up Red Tower a little bit earlier than doing Brinstar cleanup for Edacoons and Wavegate would be faster than this. Faster than doing Taco Tank plus Bomb Gauntlet. Um, I have not timed it out though. We'll have to see. So Rusty got entered Brinstar Elevator at 8:41, and Tilly was just a little bit ahead of Rusty. Yeah, I assume Tilly doesn't want the missiles. Oh, he does. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I guess it's probably a toss-up, like, with North Korea, there are a million missiles on your way. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm curious to see if Rusty will take any safety items in response to this. All right, so getting Gauntlet probably cost Tilly about a minute and a half. Um, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, I'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, we can get Tilly in for an interview. I do really want to hear about this route. It's possible that Tilly just wants every safety tank that he can get. In which case, I think his choice is defensible. Like if he's also going to be doing a second Brinstar, then I think that's not so bad to get that gauntlet. But yeah. Meanwhile, Rusty is going to be climbing up Red Tower to get his first and second power bomb pack in just a moment. Red Tower is also a pretty nice place to fill up your reserves. Um, a lot of people like filling up their reserves in Spore Spawn, which is a bit nicer since those bugs only take one hit and there are three of them. However, Red Tower is just sort of like the classic place to fill up reserves, especially if you've run any RBO, which I believe both of these players have run some amount of RBO. Yep. And Tilly is going up Red Tower now as well. I don't really see any reason that you would save Red Tower for later. Uh, it is a possibility if you did want to do a second Bryn and you wanted to do it after you had gotten speed for another extra tank. However, at that point, that additional tank would just be for Meridia if you were getting Speedway. But, yep, and so Iron Rusty will probably be completely filling up his reserve here. Or not. Or okay, he's just farming as he moves through the room. Yeah, as soon as the bugs stop dropping health, then you know that you're set. Got to be about full. Ooh, but he does keep taking hits. All right, there we go. Tilimorf, on the other hand, is not filling his reserve there. And he's not doing a Brinstar return. Interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him why he prefers to do Taco Tank plus Gauntlet compared to Edacoons plus Wavegate. Because one of the other advantages of doing Edacoons is you get an extra super pack, which means you don't have to get crab supers. But yeah, both of our runners do get that Spazer Beam. Spazer's a really good safety to get. I honestly think there are some people that don't get Spazer that really should. Um, it's kind of hard to make skipping Spazer worth it, especially for the ways that it helps you on the Botswoon fight. If you don't have a quite good Botswoon, then by not having Spazer, you don't really have a great alternative. But yeah, since Tilly hasn't filled his reserves yet, that Gauntlet tank won't help him very much compared to skipping that and filling reserves instead. So that's kind of interesting. Alright, Iron Rusty actually does an early Ice Hell run. The idea behind this is if you can pull it off without popping your reserve, then by the time you get to high jump boots, you've basically gotten a free Ice Hell run in terms of energy. Oh, and he even goes for the Mock Ball. I don't think he got it. Or he did, wow. That's really impressive. Great job on Rusty. So even though Tilimorf, it looks like Tilimorf is ahead. Um, I believe at this point, Rusty still has a slight edge. Assuming he can do it with one less tank. However, Tilimorf has made up quite a bit of ground considering he took like a minute and a half detour. Oh, and Tilly just narrowly avoids popping his reserve. That's really good. Obviously, your reserve is there so that you can use it for your hell runs. However, you want to be able to wait to pop that reserve for as long as possible. Yeah, and Rusty is taking quite a few saves. This is nice where North Korea is such a volatile category. Yeah, both runners have actually gotten more missiles than you would usually see. I think missiles are a decent safety. They can make up for some ammo issues later on. Yeah, and see Rusty having one less tank is going to have to pop his reserve here. Reserves, notably for, in most cases, lose by a bit to E-tanks in that E-tank, the only way to fill your reserves is through health drops or through ship refill. Ooh, Rusty, it's kind of close. Uh, wow. I am surprised that Rusty is alive. So to answer a question in the chat, what is North Korea percent? Uh, this category is in any percent no major glitches category. The one restriction is you have to kill the golden four, the main four bosses of the game, specifically in the order of Dragon, Phantoon, Ridley, and Kraid, or DPRK, which also happens to stand for Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or North Korea. Okay, so of all the ways that Tilimorf could have taken damage in that pre-wave room, that is by far the best one. That Ripper there doesn't do, like, these spikes do too much damage. I believe it's 60. So if you can avoid taking 60 damage from those spikes, that's really important. And on Rusty's screen, you saw something kind of interesting. It looked like he was sort of like ice skating along, and then suddenly he lost the blue echoes behind him. That specifically happens in heated rooms, where you do not have any suits. From what I understand, because of the sound cue of the heat, it just messes with Speed Booster. From what I understand, it can actually potentially be avoided, and you can keep your blue echoes if you let go of dash after you get those blue echoes. I'm not totally clear on it though. Yeah, meme percent RBO is, I guess, somewhat accurate. Some people have called it RBO light. However, it is its own thing with a more developed late game. All right, Croc be obliging. Oh no. Well, in terms of RNG, Croc played very nicely there right up until the end. It was just unfortunate Tilly's rhythm was a little bit off there. Alright, now Rusty is doing maybe the scariest of the hell runs. Yeah, like see that spike hit is what Rusty really didn't want to see here. He can still make this if he plays well. But yeah, there we go. Nicely done. You can find yourself in a bad situation there. He does have enough health that he doesn't strictly need to refill. However, he might just for safety. Yeah, he does a couple rounds of farm here. Understandable. You don't want to overfarm, like Iron Rusty is overfarming by quite a bit here, because you can just go and take the refill 2 rooms from now. However, having extra health is nice, especially since you can get hit by one of these red pirates. And Tilimorf now grabs Grappling Beam, my favorite item in the game, because it's what makes Suitless Meridia. Well, not what makes Suitless Meridia work, but what makes it fun, in my opinion. There are other ways to traverse to traverse Meridia without gravity and without grapple beam, but they can be kind of miserable. Alright, so we see some deviation in strategy here. Rusty's using a bit of ammo for Croc. This will make the fight go faster, but it does mean he has to farm a bit more potentially. Alright, 2 shots, I think. There we go, nicely done. Yep. Meanwhile, Tilly is exiting Lower Norfair right now, and getting ready for the real meat of the run. The reason why, sort of, NK is anything more than just a funny acronym. Alright, Rusty doesn't go for the spike suit. I think this is quite defensible. With Croc spike suit in North Korea, you either want to use it effectively immediately to save no time, or you want to carry a spike suit all the way to Batun E-Tank room, which is silly. And I'm not sure if anybody's done it. I know Shiny Zenny attempts it in his PV. But I think blows the spike suit somewhere. It's very difficult to do. Keeping a spike suit in water when you don't have gravity suit is actually a little bit easier, but it is kind of awkward. Like, there are different ways in which you can blow your spike suit compared to being out of water. And Tilly either has to farm here or do a pretty risky Meridia. No deaths so far, thankfully. However, so Tilly has a couple options. Looks like he's just going for Sloter's refill. This is a perfectly viable option. It puts you at full health coming into Meridia. If you were only going to do a little bit of farming, you could farm the bugs at Meridia exit. However, Sloter's refill isn't that many more rooms over. So for 560 energy, it ain't so bad. Oh, okay. So Tilimorf wants X-ray. I'm not sure if this is a safety or if Tilly mains X-ray climb out of Precious. If so, that's potentially a really big time save that Iron Rusty could gain over Tilimorf. Believe Tilly mains. Okay. Yeah, so if Iron Rusty can get the grapple jump first try, and not even like first try, but get the grapple jump without dying, then Iron Rusty saves a lot of time compared to Tilimorf, because X-Ray Climb is safer in that it doesn't cost health, but it is quite slow. So then this drastically changes the way that Tilimorf does Dragon. Then Tilimorf will, what I expect he'll do anyway, and the reason that people normally get X-Ray is he will get the blue suit from Dragon as normal, and I'll explain how that works once we get closer to the fight. But then he will spark out of Dragon's room and X-Ray climb out of Precious. It's a bit of a vintage strat. but it does work. And if you are quite good with X-ray climbing, uh, it can really work to your advantage. But we see it does cost quite a bit of time, as Iron Rusty has pulled ahead in this race. Yes, it does. It does also allow you to microwave Fantoon, which is so that is a non-zero time save. It is something to consider. However, that doesn't even make up for the time it takes to get the X-ray beam, let alone actually perform the X-ray climb. Yeah, so Iron Rusty struggled a little bit there to get on top of that one fish. That is the hardest part, in my opinion, of this first Main Street climb. However, Iron Rusty's wow, yeah, and Tilimorf caught up as well. So both of these runners have had really clean Main Streets. And now both of these runners have to do the really awkward crab super grab. Unfortunately, you either... So there are a couple different paths you can take. You can either get a super missile here, crab supers, for a total of 15 supers, or you can super open the doorway into Precious, because that is a super door, and then hope for a super drop from one of the Metroids in there, which also requires you to pick up at least 25 missiles. Or alternatively, you can pick up your third super pack somewhere else. The most obvious one would be Edicoons. However, that is quite out of the way if you aren't going there anyway. Alright, and Rusty has made it through Everest. Nicely done. He is farming these crabs in here. That's interesting. I guess just the last little bit of safety. We'll see if Tilly does the same. No, Tilly takes a hit, though. That's kind of scary. You do want as much health as possible going into Batwoon, as things can go pretty wrong. And the more... at Batwoon, you can pretty directly turn health into time save. By taking extra hits on Batwoon to get more supers in. Both runners do take this save. I would expect nearly anyone to save before Batwoon. And I would expect every single person in a race to save before Dragon. I think that save is just unavoidable, really. Yep, and now Rusty is going to be performing a trick known as the Metroid Ice Clip. And Tilimorf shortly thereafter, which you freeze the Metroid and use its hitbox to actually be able to clip through this set of crumble blocks. If this ice clip were not available for us to use, then we would have to do a quite difficult trick known as Suitless Crystal Flash Clip, which is a frame perfect trick and has other tribulations with it. But yeah, this is really close. Oh, I think Batwoon is 1 or 2 for Rusty. Wow, 3 away actually. Oh my goodness, nearly synced Batwoon deaths. However, Rusty has 1 super and Tilly has 10, so Rusty has to do quite a bit more farming here.
Okay, yeah. At this point, we have first Coliseum, which can definitely present some difficulties for runners. And if you do end up touching the sand in the wrong way, then you do just kind of die, unfortunately, unless you are quite skilled at backups and know how to deal with the sand. However, after Coliseum, we have really the true gauntlet and quite possibly the determining moment of the race with Dragon. Yeah, freezing a Metroid is by far the best way to escape the sand. If you get caught in the sand and there's a Metroid nearby, freeze it, run over to it, and mash jump, and you can make it out. Uh, if if that's not an yep. Speak of the devil. Unfortunately, Iron Rusty killed the Metroids there. So the best thing that you can do is get hit by the spikes, and immediately after getting hit by the spikes, do a crouch turnaround jump. But yeah, that's really unfortunate, and now Rusty does have to do Botswoon again. So the most important thing with the sand, and with Coliseum in general, Tilly actually could have. There actually is a way to save it. If you are stuck in that weird graphical pattern. But yeah, the most important thing with the sand is never turn around in Coliseum midair. You have to be like 50 feet in the air to be willing to turn around. Because when you are turning around, the turnaround animation is quite slow, and during that whole animation, your fall speed will not be affected by the sand. So if you're turning around and you hit the sand, you just fall right through it. Ooh. Oh no, Tilly! And this is what we said about a volatile category. Thankfully, Tilly does have a Dragon pre-Dragon save, because everybody's going to be taking one of those. But yeah, those turrets can come for your life, and the turrets have a lot of RNG involved in them. But yeah, so at this point, oh wow, those were some funny drops there from Botswoon. Obviously, no health drops because Rusty was full. I swear though, Botswoon never drops more than one super. Yeah. So, what Tilimorf is doing here? First, he damages down so that he has the ability to Crystal Flash. Next, he wants to Crystal Flash such that he is in the middle of Crystal Flashing when Dragon grabs him. And being in the Crystal Flash state and having Dragon grab you at that point will actually give you a Spike Suit, which is sort of like one free stored Shine Spark charge. However, Tilly then wants to actually convert this Spike Suit into a blue suit. Normally, you actually expect it to be the other way around. But the disadvantage of a Spike Suit is if you do any kind of an input that would cause a Shine Spark, then you Shine Spark. Oh. So, yeah, what just happened there is a thing that can happen sometimes, where you're too far left for Dragon to grab you, basically. It can also happen. You can see it if you're like right at the edge. You can be too far left for Dragon to grab you. if Dragon like coops you backwards, you can also be too far behind her for her to grab you. Really, either way is not great. But yeah, so Tilimorf wants to convert his spike suit into a blue suit. Uh, and so what that will allow him to do, that was a scary turnaround from Rusty there. By converting the spike suit into a blue suit, it means that he'll only activate a shine spark if he has ducked beforehand, like you normally would to activate a shine spark. And the way he does that is by having Dragon grab him during the windup for a shine spark. Which is what you saw him try to do earlier. Unfortunately, he was a bit too far left to be grabbed by Dragon. Alright, this Crystal Flash looks good. He Crystal Flashed a bit too late, so he doesn't have as much health as he would want. This is still more than enough health, though. Especially since if Tilimorf does go for X-Ray Climb, then he has all the health in the world. It's unfortunate. He does have the opportunity to try again if he can safely damage himself down below 50. Just because it was such a short CF. Yep, and now Rusty is on to his first fight. Alright, both of our runners have a good spike suit. Ooh, one bonk there from Dragon. You don't want to get spanked. At least not here. Tilimorf doesn't have the blue suit. So Tilimorf will have to attempt to grapple jump out. However, Iron Rusty is through and had a perfect Dragon fight. Yeah, so Tilimorf can still make it. He just has to get the grapple jump, which I assume he got X-Ray to avoid. Or oh right, yeah, he has X-Ray, so he can just spike suit out. He's fine. Ooh, that's really close. Okay, yeah. Huh? When do you lose the spike suit beam? Oh, I guess after you pause. It's interesting. So Rusty has enough energy. Yeah, I think you need like roughly 50 or so for it to work. But yeah, so Rusty is ahead. Tilimorf is doing an X-ray climb. I assume he turned off morph. I assume that was the purpose of that pause. It looked like he just paused and unpaused though. But yeah, what Tilimorf is doing is in my mind, very difficult trick and quite slow way of escaping here. However, it is safer in terms of health required. Truthfully, I don't fully understand how X-ray climb works, but basically, it forces you into stands and crouches positions. Such that you gain a little bit of height each time, 5 pixels or something, each time you do an X-ray climb. And to answer a question in chat, yes, you are allowed to watch your competitor's stream in the tourney. You're even allowed to watch this restream if you so desire. which, in my opinion, comes into play maybe a little bit more in North Korea than in other categories, just because it's so volatile and you do have quite a few safeties that you're allowed to take. So, for example, if you see that your opponent is struggling a lot in the original Norfair Hell runs or something, you can take Meridia a bit safer. Yeah. Yeah, now Rusty is out of the tremendously scary stuff. You can still um oh, it looks like it's Tilly through? But yeah, you can definitely still die here in Plasma because these space pirates do a lot. Oh, it looks like Tilly failed it, unfortunately. That's gonna set him back quite a bit, and that's the disadvantage of X-ray climbing stuff, is each attempt takes a lot longer. Like, grapple jumping is scary, but it is pretty fast. About as fast as things get in Meridia. Yeah, so Rusty wants to jump through this next room, because if you don't and you fall into the water, it's very easy to get grabbed by a yapping maw there. And Forgotten Highway, if you run quite a bit of RBO, Forgotten Highway, Reverse Forgotten Highway will feel quite a bit different than you're used to, because you do not have screw attack at this point. Also, it is noteworthy our runners take Reverse Forgotten Highway because they are in the specific circumstance of picking up Plasma anyway and going from Plasma to Phantoon and having Space Jump. So this is actually not the first route that features Forgotten Highway. Regular RBO does Forgotten Highway as well, because regular Forgotten Highway also does Dragon followed by Phantoon. And Forgotten Highway is actually a bit faster in RBO compared to NK because you do have screw attack. Alright. Hopefully Tilimorf has a little bit better luck here. But yeah, from what I understand, he's basically wall jump checking the door to get stuck halfway into it. Alright, Phantoon for Iron Rusty. First is a slow, unfortunately. Ideally, this should be a pretty simple 2-round. Looks like Iron Rusty only got 2 missiles off there, though. Maybe I just missed it. Yeah, he only got 2 missiles off in the first phase then. If you get at least 3 missiles off in one phase and 4 missiles off in the other, uh, and you get 2 charged plasma shots in, that's enough to kill Phantoon. It's in my opinion, it's the easiest way to 2-round Phantoon, outside of, I guess, botching the microwave and making it a 2-round. And at this point, Rusty wants to go up and get Gravity Suit, which will allow him to quite comfortably go through Lower Norfair. Does Tilly have it? Nicely done. Just don't fall into the sand, Tilly, please. No! Tilly. You well and truly hate to see it. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, at this point, Iron Rusty has pretty much free reign to take the remainder of the game as safely as he wants. Tilimorf did choose this category. I have to imagine, of course, he did not anticipate it going like this. I mean, if he had managed to get everything right with Dragon on the first try, then Tilly would still be ahead. Assuming even pace from there on out. That's quite bad. Tilly has to hope that he doesn't get spanked on the way up. And Dragon played nice. That's really nice to see. Which means, if Tilly wants, he's fully set up to go for grapple jump here. He's got plenty of health to have a few tries at it. And he is going for it, okay. Yeah, you ideally, oh. Yeah, it looks like maybe he's not. Yeah, I think he makes a couple attempts and bails. It didn't look from the way he was doing it like he was especially experienced with the grapple jump. And unfortunately, it's not really a trick that you can just pick up. It does take a fair bit of practice. Yeah, meanwhile, Iron Rusty is about to enter Lower Norfair. Just going for pretty standard space jump strats, no D-boost or anything. Yeah, and this right here is pretty much just a standard any percent Lower Norfair with more resources. Oh, Rusty was trying there for a strat where you get blue echoes from a short charge, and then space jump through the pillars using the blue echoes. It's a pretty neat strat, and it conserves health compared to fast pillars, and it's not that much slower at all. Oh, it looks like Tilly's panicking a little bit, having some trouble with these X-ray climbs. Once you lose the rhythm, it's hard to find it again. That's one of the things I really don't like about this trick is it's like you have to do it for so long. All right, he got it. And he makes it to the save point. Nicely done. So Tilly does not have to fight Dragon again at all in this run. Looks like Rusty is actually just going for some supers strats on these ninja pirates. It's interesting. Tilly does have to be a little bit cognizant of his health, especially coming into Plasma, where the pirates can do somewhere in the realm of like a tank of damage per hit. Everything in Meridia hits like a truck because the game expects you to have gravity by this point. Alright, and Rusty enters his Ridley fight. Ridley, play nice. All right. Yeah, not a bad Ridley at all. Rusty has the time to get any safety tanks he needs. Looks like he will be skipping them. I wonder if this run has PB potential for him. Uh, According to speedrun.com, Rusty's North Korea percent PB is a 112. Which this would have the potential to beat. I think. Maybe. It would be close. He would have to play pretty well from this point on, I think. I know Rusty doesn't play with splits, just a timer, so it's hard to say how far ahead or behind of his PB he is. Yeah, looks like he's maybe about 2.5 minutes behind his PB, looking at the VOD of it. So likely not to be a PB likely not to be a PB. However, this is still going to be a very good run from him. Honestly, any completed North Korea run is a very good run. Some trouble with Three Musketeers. That's a difficult room, even with plasma. Yep, now the only danger here for Rusty at this point is an accidental golden 3. And a huge milestone for Tilimorf here. Tilimorf does not have to touch any water ever again without having Gravity Suit. This is the part of the run where you breathe a sigh of relief. I think even if you're this far behind, it's like, okay, you know, I've made it through the Suitless Meridia stuff. Just kind of a nice feeling. Alright, Rusty does remember Kraid. Very nice. He's very easy to forget. Yeah, so unfortunately, Tilimorf just had a lot of trouble with Dragon. He was ahead by a little bit up until that point, after Rusty took an unfortunate death in Coliseum when our runners were nearly synced. We do see that nice Fantoon microwave, though. That is one reason to pick up X-Ray. Yeah, Tilly also lost some more time due to the fact that he goes for X-Ray climb. So each failed attempt costs more time. Yeah, no Kraid quick kill. One missile and a plasma shot is enough to take Kraid down, though. And Iron Rusty does have to pick up Varia here, as Mother Brain's Rainbow Beam at the end of the game only cares about whether or not you have Varia. If you have Gravity but you don't have Varia, you will still take 600 damage from it. Which Rusty can technically survive, but I wouldn't want to chance that. And now at this point, Rusty is just on the mad dash to G4. Yeah, and suddenly these rooms that took him so long to go through before, he's just flying through Meridia now with that gravity suit and space jump. Yep, and that's a gravity pickup from Tilly, so the run is so much easier now. And Iron Rusty is entering Turian with a total of 6 tanks. There's not too much that can go catastrophically wrong here. Yeah, 5 E tanks and 1 reserve. Yeah, the off forgot reserve. Well, this is yeah, I mean, this has definitely been an interesting run to see. It's the first time I've ever seen somebody go for a gauntlet safety tank. Yes, this is a good time for Rusty. It's not going to PB. However, yeah, his PB's a 112.19, and I believe he's about 2.5 minutes behind that at this point. But it'll still be a good showing. Without the death, I'm not sure. It would have been pretty close to PB. Yeah, definitely a good time for a race. And he's having a little bit of trouble here with Metroid Room 1. A room that can certainly give you some trouble. I I don't know about doing that room 2 strat with this super count, even 25 missiles. Yeah, see, he pays for it by having to missile in room 3. Yeah, it would have been better to just pick up those super drops, and there were quite a few of them too. Oh, and bailed out in room 4. Wow. He would have been fine. It just would have been more annoying with the super count he had. All right, let's see this baby skip. Oh, little off rhythm for the first jump. It happens. Is that power bomb high enough? Yeah, I didn't think so. Tilly needs to be kind of careful here. The first race was max percent GT, which was Tilimorf's pick or excuse me, which was Rusty's pick, and Tilimorf took it. It'll be kind of interesting to see now. Tilimorf won Rusty's pick, and Rusty won Tilly's pick. And assuming nothing catastrophic happens to Rusty here, MT is taking a save, so something would really have to happen. Game 3 will be Nintendo Power percent. I don't believe they have Game 3 on the schedule yet, but keep your eye out for that. Alright, and Rusty is entering Mother Brain 2. Yeah, really anything can happen with Nintendo Power. One of the easier categories to make flubs in and accidentally collect items in the wrong order. You know, being the category that has a prescribed order. And that was a pretty lucky single hit from Ketchup Beam there. And Rusty has made it through Mother Brain 2. Alright, and Tilly takes down Ridley. Nicely done. I respect getting this E-Tank, this Ridley tank. I wonder if Tilly will go for the Varia skip then. Because with 7 tanks, you can skip Varia. 70. The way that Tilly has it, it's like if you can do a 4 tank any percent run, then you can definitely do a 7 tank no Varia run. Alright, and Mother Brain 3 goes down. Nice perfect escape time. This should just be a pretty standard escape. What you've seen anytime with an any percent run. Meanwhile, Tilimorf is escaping Lower Norfair now, and just on his way to Kraid. Ooh, some bad steam. The animals can get out on their own. Nice. And Iron Rusty finishes in first place with an official SRL time of a 1:15, or excuse me, with an official racetime.gg time of a 1:15:27. GG. And what that does mean is that we will be seeing a game 3. So GG to Iron Rusty. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview. Yeah, a really nice finish time, especially considering the unfortunate Coliseum death in there and the race setting. Tentatively planned for Thursday night. Yeah, so Nintendo Power Percent, which will be the tiebreaker for these two, is a pretty interesting category. It's based on, I don't believe it's actually Nintendo Power. I think it's like the Nintendo Player's Guide or something. Ooh, that was a really close, great quick kill for Tilimorf. But basically, there's like a Nintendo Player's Guide that gives you a set of items for like a prescribed order that you go through as the best tips for getting a time of under 2 hours for that best cutscene. And so Nintendo Power Percent follows that exactly. And we are joined by Iron Rusty. GG.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about that run?
Yeah, mostly went well, but once again, the Coliseum snagged me. I had to do my safer strat the next time, and it worked. But
Yeah, Coliseum's really frustrating.
yeah, I just had to play it safe take all those saves, and anytime I took a safety save, I could get things on the first try mostly. So that's how it goes, right?
Yeah. You did pull out the W though. Being able to get through Dragon first try was really impressive.
Well, I think it was sporting of Tilly to pick North Korea percent. I think he's still getting the grapple jump, I suppose. I didn't see if he got one successfully, but maybe he's learning it.
No, he only did X-ray climb. He tried like a couple attempts at the grapple jump. The one time that he actually did get the blue suit, but it didn't look like he was especially comfortable with it.
Took me a long time to get that to work, and so when I saw that he was going to get X-ray, I thought, "Yep, that's." I remember being at that point too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you have run RBO, you have such an advantage in North Korea.
Well, I'm sure Tilly has too.
Yeah, I guess you can run RBO with X-ray as well. And I guess it's arguably better to run with X-ray and RBO compared to North Korea, in that it's just a longer run.
Well,
But yeah, really,
I learned it too.
Yeah, I never learned how to X-ray climb. Like I I can do a couple I can do a couple of climbs and then I'm just done. I find that way harder than grapple jumping.
Oh, the grapple jump, yeah, that's pretty hard. But I mean, yeah, X-ray, it's just a bunch of well, if you get around to learning it, I don't think it's as tricky a timing as you'd see for something like the grapple jump. It is easier. It takes longer. You have to go get X-ray. So yeah, all in all, it's a good way to get through a North Korea run or a RBO run with the X-ray climb, the little X-ray climb there. And there are a few other rooms in the game that can benefit from an inbounds X-ray climb that are kind of fun. Good to know for randomizer or stuff like that. Getting to spring ball with an X-ray climb is possible, or what's the other good one? Well, you can get out of the Spore Spawn Supers room with an X-ray climb, but it's a little epic.
Can you do, I think you can do climb supers, right?
Oh, I guess that's possible too. I haven't done that one.
Yeah, if you're quite silly. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was really well run overall. Like, I believe your PB is a 112.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So
yeah, this was pretty good considering the epic death and the Coliseum after, and having to go back to the bot one again. Yeah, I mean, it would have been close. Yeah, getting everything on the first try, and I didn't have any like really awkward farming moments. I almost died that one time on the way to on the farm room on the way to Croc. I think I got down to like 9 health or something. That was pretty scary.
yeah, I definitely saw single digits.
Yeah. Well, I was saving often, so I was just trying to cut it close.
Yeah, I think playing safe for a category like North Korea is the way to go. Yeah, let's see, I'm trying to think. You I believe the only safety tank you get is Taco, right?
I trimmed it down to getting just the that ceiling E tank, and I mean I used to do the double Bryn Star loop to go up Red Tower, get the power bombs, go back to Edicoons, get more E tanks, and just redo Bryn Star with to get whatever it was 6 tanks or something. For me, I felt like if I do all that and then just never have to farm, it ends up kind of being a wash, but it's a lot of running around. So I mean I've trimmed it down to just having these 4 for the hell runs.
Yeah, and I mean, you did make it through the hell runs okay. There was only that one death. Based on the North Korea runs we've seen so far, getting through with only one death is pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's very easy for this category to become a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's true. It's nice that the hell runs are not super long like the RBO, like super long or super dangerous like the RBO hell run is, where if you touch anything you're just dead. Almost. Oh, that just took away 200 to health. Oh, that just took away 200 health. Those are just super it's another level. So yeah, calling this RBO light is right, but the hell runs are not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess since we didn't get an interview for it because you ran back to back, do you want to talk about the GT Max race at all?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure what Tilly was gonna ban, but when he decided to ban any percent all bosses, I was like, well, we gotta do max percent. That's my favorite. And I know some people in this tournament are always just banning max percent because it is so long and it's so awkward at the beginning. So many dumb little things you have to do. But I do really enjoy the running around, flying through everything with more health than you can even show on the screen and stuff like that. So I do enjoy that category, and it is fun to kind of do hundo. Like it's almost like a backwards hundo because you start in the Lower North Fair and have to kind of follow a different route. And it was awesome getting to race against this Rame and getting to hear him doing the comms today. And I'll always pick up a little detail or two. And it was anyway. I tried incorporating a few things from what I learned, but still a long ways to go. But it was just fun for me. And Fantoon, I think I got Fantoon on the first try, but I was just playing kind of sloppy and just losing time all over the place. And
Yeah.
I'm still learning a lot.
Yeah, I do think it's kind of funny. It ended up that Tilimorf won on your pick, and then you won on Tilly's pick.
Yeah, well, we're gonna end up having to play Nintendo Power either way. So I'm guessing that well, we'll see what he says, but I'm guessing he just wanted to see it go to Game 3. But I mean, he could have just won too. This category is so weird, but I think he's at a disadvantage having to go get X-ray and do the X-ray climb, and then he had to do it twice because of the silly Metroid grabbed his brain. Man, that was so sad. No.
Yeah. That was actually, so he did two successful X-ray climbs, and one he got most of the way there before he ended up failing it. So it was three X-ray
that's
climbs.
right. One of them must have got stuck or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So how are you feeling about Nintendo Power percent though?
Yeah, that could be a tight race. There's not a whole lot of like, I mean, I think about Nintendo Power. There's not a lot of really interesting tech to it. It's just a lot of backtracking. So having really tight movement, I think, is a benefit, to Tilly basically in that matchup. So I think that's just how I lose all my time in Nintendo Power, is just not having learned or not having gotten consistent with a lot of the best room strats. I kind of do what I can on a lot of rooms just because I haven't learned the best ways to get through them, and it adds up pretty quickly, especially in a long run. Backtracking through like Red Tower multiple times, if you don't have really consistent and efficient ways of doing some of those rooms, it just starts bleeding away.
Oh, definitely. Like, yeah, I mean, I know you said it doesn't have a lot of tech, and I think that's like true to an extent, but it does have like so many unique room strats.
That's true. There are some interesting. I mean, you do get spring balls, so there's the possibility of some rooms getting kind of a different consideration than usual.
Yeah. All right, and it does look like Tilimorf has just finished with an official racetime.gg time of 1:26:55. So GG Tilly. We'll see if we can get him in. But yeah, Nintendo Power percent is unless I'm up against somebody who is like an absolute specialist in another one of the categories, Nintendo Power percent is my auto ban.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's such a strange category. All right, and we are joined by Tilly. GG.
GG.
How are you feeling?
I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm feeling fine. That was a great run aside from Dragon.
Yeah, that sounds about right for the category.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it definitely though, like I mean you were ahead entering into Dragon, despite, and I am really curious about this. So you get Gauntlet E-Tank.
Yes, I do get Gauntlet.
I
It's
I don't think I've seen anyone do that.
yeah, it's more of just a safety. I like it because I feel like when I grab that, I can just farm less for hell runs.
Yeah, I would be curious to see. I would suspect that it would be actually faster to cut out Taco Tank and Gauntlet, and then replace them with do a Red Tower climb and then do a Bryn revisit for Edekun's
Oh,
and Wavegate, because then that also saves you. It saves you from having to pick up Crab Supers as well.
yeah, that's true. I've not
I mean,
really
I
thought
used to
about
do
it that
that
much.
too. It just takes a while.
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, every E-tank that you add, it eases the farming and it eases the pressure in Norfair, and then you can kind of gain back time because you're not farming like every moment, and then getting high jump E-tank can like really be a boon because you got so much E.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Rusty. I noticed that you do early ice.
Yeah, I mean that I like the idea of getting ice and then getting out and then getting high jump E-tank to refill and then do the rest of it. Just rather than going in. I mean, basically the other option would be going into Meridia with lower health, which kind of depends on what's going on, but it'd be kind of scary to me.
Yeah, I mean, you can also you can farm the bugs right outside of Meridia, or and this is actually what Tilly did. You can go for Sloter's refill as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean, one of the things
convenient
I
for
love.
me since I'm getting X-ray.
Yeah, one of the things I love about this category is there are, like, it feels like at every stage of it, there's so many options for what you can do. Like so many different strategies.
Yeah, I think when I faced this Reem, he decided he went and got X-ray, like Tilly did. But I think Sisreem went and did it early, because he's a crazy person. But then then I think I don't remember who was talking about it, but like, was he going to go without grapple? And that really got me thinking, like, wow, how doing North Korea without grapple, that would be wild. Because you could crab climb, you could snail climb. I mean, I wonder if that works. There'd be some pretty bad rooms with ice, but probably not worth it. But definitely gets you thinking.
Yeah, I mean, Coliseum with ice is miserable. Like, you definitely can do it, but it's just awful.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go for it, if you want to be,
Not in the race, but just to have done
yeah,
it.
yeah, you would definitely have a very unique route if you went that way. But yeah, I think Sulis without grapple is really a beast of its own. But yeah, GG's to both of y'all. Tilly, so game 3, you're gonna be playing Nintendo Power. I've already asked Rusty about it, but how are you feeling about that?
I enjoy Nintendo Power Percent. I chose North Korea Percent just because I had never raced it before and I had never actually even played it before this tournament. So I was like, well, if I never get a chance to play it when I had the option to pick it, it's on me. So I'm gonna race it once. Then if I lose,
Fair
since
play.
I won race 1, I still have the option to play Nintendo Power.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Nintendo Power would have been your other pick anyway.
Yeah. I'm excited to race that.
Well, awesome.
That's not one that I raced against bands, so it'll be a new one for me.
Yeah, well, best of luck to both of you going into game 3. I believe Rusty said tentatively Thursday.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, that works for me. So hopefully it works. And I didn't finish my Nintendo Power run. If I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, you mean your GT Max?
No, I didn't finish the Nintendo Power Percent run that I did in the other round when I had the yapping maw crash my game.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was really
Yeah,
unfortunate. I guess you
that
gotta have that happen to you once, right?
that was my first time.
Yeah, I hope
Well,
you don't have to that happen to you once, because I've not had it happen yet.
I had no idea what was going on.
yeah, I was. Yeah, I think you had it happen to you in like a bit of a different way than you normally see as well. Because it's like you had frozen it, but it was like the fact that the yapping maw had the ability to grab you anyway causes the crash or something. What a weird trick. What a weird glitch. Hopefully we won't see that happen again, though. Hopefully we'll see a really cool race. So best of luck to both of you in that. And with that, any closing thoughts from either of you?
No, it was just good race. It was a fun one. I wish I hadn't got stuck in the wall a couple times, but it was good.
Yeah, it was a fun couple of races. Thanks for the comms and everything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and with that, be sure to go follow both of these runners. Go follow Tilimorf. Go follow Iron Rusty. And if you would be so kind, follow comms as well. I've been Glove, and I've done comms for the past 2 races. And with all of that out of the way, from us here at Speed Gaming, we'll see you next mission.